What's up? Oh, good Lord. It's been a busy past couple of weeks, and it's good to be back in the chair. It's good to be back here shouting into the void, just going crazy, going crazy, talking to my own inner demons about, the vastness of humanity, the frailty of growing old, the disappointment in oneself, and of course mixed martial arts news. And you guys get the last one of those options publicly. You got to pay for the rest. Here we are. It's been a minute. Some fights have happened. Not a lot of great stuff has happened. Some interesting stuff. And some interesting announcements for the spring of 2025, and so I'm excited to get to talk about those. Darain and I may be doing another friend best buddies podcast this weekend if we can, maybe something Sunday morning to kind of talk about what's going on in the fight world after tomorrow's card, which will be Manel Kape and I get this dude's name wrong, and I want to put money on him too. Asu Almabayev. Asu Almabayev. So we have the UFC Fight Night tomorrow. We'll get to that. They say don't bury the lead, and that is not the lead. Trust me. So welcome. Today is Friday, February 28th. My name is Klein Wong, and welcome to the Fightcraft Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me as I pull a dog hair out of my mouth. Never go anywhere without dangerous hairs on my my clothing, my gi. I went to DC last week for work and had my dog's hair just all over my scarf and my pea coat. I'm a skinny guy. I got a skinny neck. I like having a scarf on. Fuck you. Sue me. No, but had some fun in DC. Just a little quick recap of what I have been up to and why I have not been able to, to do as much as I want to do with this podcast of late. And it's, because of things like, things like this. Went there with my boss, Benny Johnson, went to DC and went to CPAC, had a whole bunch of fun, filmed some of the best things that I've ever filmed as a cinematographer, videographer, whatever the hell I am, and had my bitch-ass lead cinematographer pull out about 24 hours before we left for this trip, so everything fell to me, and I'm very proud to say that I ventured down the rabbit hole, and although I dirtied my fluffy white tail, I have come back anew, renewed confidence, more great shots for my reel, and look at this. Your boy was filming JD Vance. I was out there. I was meeting the royalty of the UFC middleweight division. Maybe not the royalty. It's not Anderson Silva, but certainly one of the greatest American patriots and one of my personal favorite UFC middleweights at the time that he was competing. I was a big fan of Tim Kennedy. Got to meet the man, and we were going over to DC, and he was speaking at CPAC. My boss Benny was as well. Benny Johnson at Benny Johnson on X. Find him on YouTube. Go ahead and give us a follow. You help keep me employed, and we love the chat. The whole team does, and I was like, man, Tim Kennedy is speaking. Man, that might be the only person that I want to meet just as much as, maybe more than Tucker. I'd already met Tucker, maybe back in Atlanta, back in I think October. But what a cool guy. Tim looked like he had a lot going on, and the person who was kind of guiding us, like our Sherpa around CPAC, she happened to be talking to Tim as we walked by in the hotel there. I forget what it's called. Is it the Godfrey? Huge, beautiful hotel in DC, an event center, and I audibly went, oh, and because I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Tim Kennedy. I'm literally listening to an old episode of the Sean Ryan podcast with him on it, and my boss goes, Tim, oh man, hey dude, love you. We got a guy on the team who loves you. Klein, come in. I was kind of trying to hide behind our producers, Danny and ALX, and I went over. I was like, I don't want to bother him. And Benny pulled me over there and asked him to take a picture with me. And Tim was kind enough to do so. I'm not sure if he wanted to. I think he had a lot going on. But the guy was kind enough to take a picture with me. And, I told him he was awesome and, said, thanks for the fights and all that, and was able to get out of there. You see I had my camera in my hand. We were on our way to do a bunch of shooting that day, and it was a fun time. It was kind of a cool time in DC. Had a lot of little fun there, and I got to meet a few really cool people. Let's see if I can find that. Oh, dude, this is too good not to. I had to post the Conor McGregor quote. This is the team here. We're in DC at CPAC. Two of our boys spoke. Danny and myself holding it down backstage. We're not here to take part. We're here to take over, and that is absolutely what I believe in my heart with this team at Benny Media. Came into this job less than a year ago still, and was coming off of getting fired from working in tech, and I wasn't sure how I'd do. I started as an assistant editor, and then 3 weeks in, someone left the company, and I got asked and then promoted when I accepted to help run the show on the board. And I went from being a part-time assistant editor to not really having a title for about a year until January of 2025 this year. So about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, about 6 weeks ago, we actually had this conversation, and I was asked to obviously stay on. I'm still here, but I was given a new title, production director, which kind of more encompasses the things that I do here. Helping train some new people on our production side. Kind of the only one left after our 2024 rather trench run that was the election cycle and all of the news that came across with that. And trying to help out the team as much as I can. You can see we have ALX here. The great ALX, Benny Johnson, the man himself, Danny D'Urbina, maybe one of the most intellectual and kind of mature young guys that I've ever met, and me back there with the scarf and the Argyle. The only person not, I guess Danny's kind of got sneakers on, right? But wanted to be warm, wanted to be mobile though. I'm running around filming people. We filmed Pam Bondi, we filmed Alina Haba. And we had a lot of great fun there, and I just love the team. And we're going back to DC next week, so keep an eye on Benny's channel on YouTube for all the fun stuff that we do there. I was fortunate enough to run a stream, which Benny promised me that we weren't going to do. We weren't going to go live at all in DC, and cut to us in Senator Markwayne Mullin's office with Senator Mike Lee and Mullin themselves, just running live for Kash Patel's confirmation vote. Kash Patel also going to be in the news cycle today. And Markwayne Mullin, I mean, the guy is... If you don't know who Markwayne Mullin is, let me throw up a picture of this guy, because he also... he is actually a former professional MMA fighter, and he actually has a very interesting history in, obviously, legislation and MMA. And, here's Markwayne Mullin, here's the homie. Really fun guy, really cool guy. Guy spiked his football in his office after he came back from voting on Kash Patel. Markwayne Mullin was really cool. He was a professional fighter. I believe he had 5 or 6 fights, 4-1 or 5-1 or something like that. And actually, let's see. Let's give this man his due, right? The Executioner, Jesus, 3-0 on Tapology, but Tapology doesn't list everybody's fights. They don't list all of my fights. They are 3-0 here. I mean, absolute savage here, right? Markwayne Mullin. I guess they only have 3 on this record, but he fought at a time where they weren't exactly keeping records of everything, and all they have is the win here. What was it? Armbar? Was it a knockout? Was it a decision? Things like that. And Markwayne Mullin. I don't have the tab. Here we go. Markwayne Mullin, the Executioner, right? Fighting out of Oklahoma. This fucking badass. Oh, Markwayne Mullin was born in Chile. Damn, that's badass. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Wait, was he? These fight details do not look like... Interesting. Markwayne Mullin, if you're watching, Tapology has you born in the year 2004, and it turns out your given name is Diego Maximiliano Hernandez Pailacar. So you might want to reach out to the Tapology boys and get that. This is Markwayne Mullin, the picture, right? But this is not This is not. You know, far be it from me to say that someone is. That Markwayne Mullin could, by all means, be born in Chile, right? Maybe he was. Maybe he was. I don't know. I actually have no. I have a feeling this is wrong. Maybe we can reach out to the Tapology people on behalf of him as a nice little thing to do. But the reason I bring up Markwayne Mullin obviously is because of the trips, but he actually is a politician who fought for MMA, for MMA fighters, for fairness and equality in MMA, and I have it up here. He fought for the regulation of mixed martial arts, right? Here we go. So in 2016, Markwayne Mullin proposed legislation which would have forced the UFC to share financial information with fighters and create an independent ranking system. Mullin reportedly planned to reintroduce the ILIA Expansion Act as a senator in 2023. The ILIA Expansion Act would have great implications. So because of when it was proposed and then passed, it does great things for boxing. It's why boxers get paid a lot more money than UFC fighters, right? That's also why there might be, there's different promotions in boxing. There's different organizations, the WBF, the WBA, tons of them. That's why there's like 5 different belts, for each weight class. But the reason boxers get paid so much money is because they have the ability to go and fight in different organizations for different sponsors, right? They're not exactly owned by one organization or contracted there as fighters are in the UFC. And the UFC, takes care of their fighters, but I also do think that, having the ability to shop yourself around, fight where you want to fight, have more of a demand, it would do 2 things. It would allow fighters to have more control over their careers, right? Less binding contracts and more control over who they fight and how much money they get paid to fight. But also it would do the exact same thing that it does to boxing, which is where you don't always have the best fighting the best. It's why the past couple of years have gotten a little bit better for boxing, where you have like a Ryan Garcia fighting Tank Davis. That's why when Fury finally fights Usyk, like, why is there so much anticipation for this? Well, because Fury didn't have to fight Usyk, and it is because of his ability to choose and the freedom that he has there. A lot of that in due to the Ali Act. So Markwayne Mullin, we love that dude. Great friend of Benny's show. Really nice guy, really kind guy, and dude has a gigantic head of a steer or a bull or something that he hunted, and it's really badass in his office. So nothing but love from Markwayne Mullin. But so back to DC next week, trying to get a bunch of content out, trying to get some stuff recorded for you guys, and without further ado, let's get to the news, right? Let's get to the news. So the card tomorrow is not the most fun. As a sick, degenerate fight fan who is a nerd and lame and obviously also a practitioner in a very small, obviously nowhere near the level that, guys like the UFC fight or even Markwayne Mullin fought, but a fighter for sure and someone who loves combat, I'm just, I'm going to be watching it. It's going to be whatever. We're going to have some fun times. It's not my favorite fight card. I think, I pay for ESPN Plus. I think I'm allowed to say that, right? Their programming is fine, but doesn't have the most name value. So we'll get to that card in a second here. I did want to get to some news that broke last week, February 20th. I believe I was in DC actually while this was breaking, so I didn't quite have time to catch up on it in real time. But so a number of fight announcements, a number of news announcements in general for the UFC, but this one caught my eye. UFC President Dana White announcing UFC 314 and 315 main events. Wow, this is going to be a fun one, right? So let's read a little bit here, if we may. UFC CEO Dana White gave several bombshell announcements via his social media channels. The main events for UFC 314 and 315 are set. Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez will fight for the undisputed, not interim, undisputed featherweight title. That is 145 pounds. And then at UFC 315 in Montreal, we will have Belal Muhammad defending his welterweight title against Jack Della Maddalena. Interesting. Not against it. I have said this time and again. I think that JDM is the dark horse of the welterweight division. How will he do against Bilal Muhammad? I don't know. I am very excited to see what happens with it, though. I don't know if I would have had him slated next for a title shot, but if you think about the state of the UFC welterweight division, and I will get into Volkanovski and Lopez, but I just wanted to touch on this first. Della Maddalena is currently, let's see here. Della Maddalena comes in at number 4 of the UFC welterweight division. Right here he is. Above him you have Kamaru Usman, questionable. Shavkat Rakhmonov at number 2, okay, and then Leon Edwards at number 1. I personally don't think that I am a fan of just because someone was the champion, when they get beaten and someone takes the belt from them, they move down to the number 1 contender. I would say number 1 is a bit rough, a bit of an overestimation. I would say, number 2 I'd be fine with, but they're the number 1 contender. Leon Edwards is the number 1 contender. Well, why didn't you make him the next title contender for UFC 315? Is it because we saw that fight and Bilal Muhammad ragdolled him? Is it because no one has any interest? Well, he's not the number 1 fucking contender then. Oh my God. In skill, is he maybe better than everyone else? Maybe. In the contendership line, is he the number 1 contender? No. Shavkat is. Shavkat's injured from his Ian Gary fight. Okay. They say Kamaru Usman is. Jack Della Maddalena, number 4. Now we're talking. Also, by the way, Ian Machado Gary at number 7. Did you watch the fucking Shavkat fight? Ian Machado Gary should at least be top 5. I think he's better than Sean Brady, but he's not. He's number 7 right now. He's under Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin, give me you're tired, you're old, you're washed. No. I think Ian Machado Gary beats Joaquin Buckley as well, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Nonetheless, Jack Della Maddalena actually gets the title shot, right? Because Bilal and Shavkat, there is a Dagestani connection there, right? Bilal trains with the Dagestanis. Shavkat used to. I don't think that's why they did this. I think Shavkat's injury is one. There's not really an appetite for Bilal versus Usman, and also Usman, I believe, is coming off a loss. Let's just look real quick. Oh, yeah, his last fight was the Chimaev fight in 2023. Wow, it's been over a year since Usman's fought. Yeah, I mean, he's coming off multiple losses, obviously. So, I mean, how the fuck is Kamaru Usman number 2 in the division? Number 3 in the division, excuse me. After coming 0-3, and Ian Machado Gary is 7? It's fucking sus. What is going on? I don't know. I don't like it. The rankings are all fucked up. That's why I think, they're made by media right now. It's whatever. They're technically independent, right? But, this is what Markwayne Mullin was trying to propose, right? You have other people do a third party do a ranking assessment. And it's who are the MMA media? Sometimes they're guys like maybe Jeff Wagenheim or Chuck Mindenhall or Mike Bone or who's the good-looking guy from ESPN? Brett Okamoto. Maybe it's them, but it also could be MMA Guru or some other retard that fucking is I like this guy. I think Valentina is the best because bathing suit pics, whatever. I digress. The rankings are all jacked up. Colby Covington is top 9. Look, I happen to like Colby Covington's style. I like that overwhelming style. My man is not top 10 welterweight. Fuck, no, I just don't see it. Top 15, fine. Top 10, there's too much talent here. But I digress. So Jack Della Maddalena is going to be fighting for the welterweight belt against Mr. Bilal Muhammad. Jack Della Maddalena coming off of his last 3 wins. Hafez? Who? Exactly. Kevin Holland. That ages more poorly the more that Kevin Holland fights and talks. And then Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, but is on the, back half, back third, back quarter of his career. World champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, great grappler, but look, I'm going to say it. Ian Machado, Gary, or Joaquin Buckley or Sean Brady should have gotten this title shot, right? I just think that there were other guys who could have gotten in line for this. I mean, Sean Brady just beat Gilbert Burns. He beat Gastelum. I guess he did lose to fucking Muhammad. I forgot about that. Yeah, dude, the only fucking knockout that Muhammad has gotten since Nam. I forgot about that one. Damn, that one went under the radar. Well, don't I have egg on my face now? Benedict. But I mean, Joaquin Buckley. I mean, how do you not give the title shot to Joaquin Buckley, right? Dude is surging. Beat Morono, beat Luque, beat Ruziboev. Jesus. Beat Thompson, beat Covington. I mean, give Buckley, and he's hot right now. Like, the dude's on fire right now. Give him his fucking title shot. Oh, why didn't you have Leon Edwards or Kamaru Usman fight him? You fucking know why. But I digress. Bilal Muhammad is going to fight Jack Della Maddalena for his first title defense, and I, for one, am lukewarm on this one. Whatever. It'll be a fine fight, I'm sure. Hopefully JDM can make it fun, because Bilal Muhammad, I respect his style. I think it's fine. I'm not interested in it. I'm interested in it. I don't have the hype for it, right, that I might have for fucking Diego Lopez and fucking Alexander Volkanovski. I mean, that's going to be a baller fucking fight. That's going to be a baller fight at UFC 314. I'm really excited. Why are they fighting for the undisputed belt and not the interim? Well, I'm glad that you asked. ILIA Topuria moving up to lightweight. Wants to challenge Islam. I don't believe that fight is done yet. Islam put out a thing on X that he doesn't want the fight. He thinks he should have to fight anyone in the division, maybe Charles, maybe Chandler. I mean, a lot of that division, the top of that division is kind of tied up, but it's like if they've pulled people out of fights before to make them matchups, to give people matchups rather. I mean, yeah. Islam says he isn't interested in fighting Topuria. Ilya must want to fight you. Islam Makhachev says he isn't interested in fighting Ilia Topuria. If I beat him, what will that do for me? Everyone will once again say that I beat a featherweight. But if people really want to see him lose, then we can do it. I get it. I actually get that perspective on it. Because, I mean, and let's just look at, I mean, just for the fucking sake of argument here, let's take a look at Islam's past few fights, because the man has a point. That's what people were saying as recently as the Moicano fight, right? So Islam beats, I mean, how many former featherweights has Islam Makhachev fought and beat? Even just since 2021, right? Dan Hooker, former featherweight. Was he? Wait a minute. Hold, please. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Jesus. Okay. Jesus. Yes. Dan Hooker did used to fight at featherweight. In fact, he fought Yair Rodriguez. Yeah, gee, a close call there, right? Islam Makhachev fought Dan Hooker, Charles Oliveira, former featherweight, Volkanovski, twice, former featherweight, Poirier, former featherweight, and Moicano, former featherweight. I fully get, and Islam's the best, right? Islam's the best right now. His submission is fucking so good, dude. He's submitting people without getting touched. But I mean, he's doing it, and it's not like Dustin Poirier is not an established lightweight fighter at this point, right? The dude maybe he's a former featherweight. He is a lightweight for sure. But like, I mean, Moicano too. But like, I get Makhachev's perspective on this. You know, Makhachev is going to surpass Khabib, I think. If he hasn't, I don't think he has yet, but like, he's going to surpass Khabib. It's fine. But he needs to fight the best lightweights of this era, and right now a lot of the best lightweights of this era are former featherweights. Is there something broader that we can talk about there with, weight cutting, best practices, USADA coming in for a minute, different a lot of things that don't have to do with the actual divisional picture that come into play with like guys moving up from featherweight to lightweight? Yes, but Islam needs to fight like, dude, Khabib fought the who's who, and I understand there's a little bit of like contradiction that's going to come here because Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, these are former featherweights that Khabib fought. But I mean, Khabib fought the best of his era for the most part. I mean, there was something to say about Khabib not ever fighting Oliveira. Fine. And then that was before Oliveira and Tony Ferguson at the time, right? And that was before Oliveira was really Oliveira. But I mean, Khabib Nurmagomedov fought lightweights, right? He fought fucking Abel Trujillo and Gleison Tibau. When I feel like being a little bit of a salty dog, Gleison Tibau beat Khabib, but whatever. He was given a decision, whatever. But I mean, Pat Healy, RDA, Daryl Horcher, we don't talk about that one. Edson Barbosa, Al Iaquinta, Conor McGregor was an established lightweight at that point, right? Dustin Poirier, established lightweight at that point. Justin Gaethje, definitely always a lightweight. Like, Khabib fought these guys. He fought the big names in the division. And someone like Makhachev, it's hard to say without sounding too contradictory. Someone like Makhachev needs those top contender lightweights on his resume, right? And he has great names on his resume. But there's a question of, are they different weight classes? Are they short notice fights? Are you getting replacements on short notice, or guys that come in injured or whatever, or guys that, it's like, oh man, the Bobby Green fight came together last minute. Dan Hooker fight came together last minute. Remember that? Dan Hooker put his balls in a wheelbarrow and just fucking walked on up to Islam Makhachev, got Kimura'd. See ya. Volkanovski, I get it. Pound for pound best the first time they fought, right? But a featherweight, undeniably. And, second time was short notice. And, Poirier, I mean, he's having his retirement fight. Is Poirier long in the tooth? Yes, he's long in the tooth, right? And then, Moicano on like 24 hours notice. I mean, Makhachev something's got to give for Makhachev, right? Something's got to give. Makhachev needs a serious, that's why I kind of did like the Arman fight, right? Anyone else is really not there yet. Maybe a win or two, right? Paddy Pimblett beats Chandler and then maybe gets one more win, right? Fiziev beats Gaethje. Maybe Benny Dariush gets called up. Matej Gamrot off another win. I mean, Charles Oliveira right now in the rematch, yeah, I think that would add some legitimacy, but we're looking for a guy who is the next heir apparent to go up and challenge Makhachev and see how Makhachev really does then. And I just don't see it. And it's really not fair to Islam because the guy is like, the reaction is either going to be negative or neutral for the most part for like the MMA casuals. Either it's going to be negative because he has a bad performance or he loses, or it's going to be neutral because he does what he's supposed to do, which is go out there and finish guys, right? Live up to his hype that Khabib and the MMA media have peddled for him. And it's like, he's doing that. Submitted Moicano, submitted Poirier, head kicked Volkanovski, decision against Volkanovski when Volk was Volk, and submission against Oliveira, the champ, and, beat Bobby Green in the first round, beat Hooker in the first round, both last-minute replacements, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do. If he would gone in there and had a very close 3-round decision, and maybe not lost, but, like, won by the skin of his teeth, I mean, guys would be throwing that at them. And it sucks for Islam because that's, that's just a tough one. That's just a tough one. And we get back to the original point that brought me onto this, which is ILIA Topuria wants to claim greatness in that two division champion status, and I fully get why Islam doesn't want it. And it's probably not because he's scared, right? Islam doesn't strike me as the type of guy who gets really like scared to fight people. It strikes me as the type of guy who fights anyone, right? I know he was training for a certain fighter and then Moicano got put in, but I mean, that was just as dangerous. He had way more to lose from Moicano than Moicano did from him. And I get it. Moicano's like not even top 5 at the time that he fights. Whatever. The ball's on Moicano to step up and do that. But like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? You gonna not fight Islam Makhachev in the main event when you get called up to do it? I mean, I just don't see it. And Islam, I get it. Like, he wants to fight someone who's a little bit more established in the lightweight division. As of right now, I don't know who that is. If Gaethje beats Fiziev, I mean, he's still coming off the most incredible knockout I've ever seen in my life off of Max Holloway. Arman hurt his back. Arman's a huge boy. Arman pissed off the UFC, in my opinion, and probably they said that he's not going to get the next title shot. What are we doing? Charles Oliveira deserves his fucking shot. Give Islam the Charles fight. Give him some legitimacy. Give Charles a second crack, and let's see what's up. I don't know, man. But so this begs the question, if ILIA Topuria moves up to lightweight and doesn't fight Islam, who does he fight? Right? If they make him fight a contender. A lot of people are saying Charles. I don't want that. Put my cards out right there. I think Charles has earned his fucking title shot. I don't want that. Who else is booked? Well, Gaethje's booked. Poirier is booked. We don't know who, but he's got his retirement fight. Holloway is not booked. Dan Hooker is not booked. Holloway coming off of that knockout loss to Ilia Topuria would be an interesting rematch at lightweight. But Dan Hooker, injured. Michael Chandler, booked with Paddy Pimblett. Matej Gamrot, that's an interesting fight. That would pose an interesting problem to Topuria. Someone bigger, someone with that wrestling grit, that technique, the ability to dictate where the fight goes, or at least force you to react, right? Even if Topuria's takedown defense is incredible against Gamrot and he doesn't get any in the first round or something, that's still Matej Gamrot dictating where the fight goes in the sense that he's dictating the direction, the pace. He's making Topuria answer for that. That's an interesting fight. Benny Dariush, that's an interesting fight. I don't think Beneil would want to take that fight, personally, because Beneil got fucked over in the last one. Moicano pulled out, got called to the big leagues. Beneil, take a walk. Here's a $50K to not fight. Take a little walk here. We'll take care of you. Beneil Dariush had gray in his hair since fucking Nam. That dude is long in the tooth, and I don't think he's going to be around much longer. I don't think he wants the Topuria fight. Or maybe he does, right? Maybe if it's a contender shot, but I don't know, man. I don't see it. Moicano coming off a loss. Interesting fight. Doesn't do anything for me, really, in terms of contendership. I think Topuria would beat Moicano. Fiziev, interesting fight. Booked. Pimblett, interesting fight. Booked. History there. Grudge match for sure. But booked. Then we get down into like 13, 14, 15. Jalen Turner, Grant Dawson, Benoit St. Denis. I mean, there's just no appetite for that. Ilia Topuria is in a weird position where people kind of want to see him fight for the title. Or if not that, have him fight Arman or Charles. He's given up his belt at 45, so now he has to make big headways at 55. Otherwise, he's going to cool off. And I don't know. Personally, I would like to see Holloway take a little bit more time before he takes a fight. I would like to see Holloway maybe not fighting Topuria right away for a rematch, right? If that's his next fight, is an immediate rematch. And then what? If Topuria beats him again, he's fucked on fucking contendership and lightweight? I don't think so. I think Topuria versus Arman would make sense. I think that they should have put Topuria in as the replacement for Justin Gaethje. Supposedly he walks around at like 190. I don't know if I believe that, but supposedly he walks around at 190. Okay. have him fight Gaethje. Gaethje's in a weird position himself. We'll get to that in just a second. But, so Dana White announcing this. I don't know. So we have some more news. Paddy Pimblett fighting Michael Chandler. It's going to be a fun fight. I don't think Chandler gets submitted. He's savvy on the defense. If Charles Oliveira could not submit Michael Chandler, I don't think Paddy Pimblett's going to. And I love Paddy the Batty, right? The dude's got great submissions off his back, walks out to heads will roll. I mean, what do you not love? Bowl cut with the best of them. Michael Chandler, sturdy, defensively savvy in the grappling section, putting a pace on you. Juicy boy. Juice to the gills. And N-word pass. Adopted 2 kids from Africa. Interesting. That'll be a fun fight. I don't know who I'm going to have in that one. I've talked about that weird feeling where you're like, I think this guy, but there's a vibe of this guy. The vibe has Paddy Pimblett, in my opinion, but I think that Chandler should beat him and certainly has the capabilities to beat him. What else was the news? Well. Bellator legend Patricio Pitbull Freite is finally making his UFC walk. Certainly on the back end of his career, entering the back end of his career. If he's still in his prime, it's the end of his prime. I think he's 36 or 37. Patricio Pitbull coming in, taking on El Pantera, Yair Rodriguez, with maybe one of the best head kicks in the world. Jumping head kick was not on my top 10 list. I'll have to go back and remake that video proper. But that's going to be a barn burner. It'll be interesting to see where Yair Rodriguez is at this point. It will be very interesting to see because Yair has not lived up to his hype. He has not. Yair Rodriguez. Let's take a look at this young man. El Pantera. Last fight against Brian Ortega. Submitted him in the 3rd round. Beautiful fucking choke. Fought Volkanovski. Lost. Fought Emmett. Won. Fought Ortega. Won. That was a beautiful choke that Ortega got in the second one on that fucking triangle. But fought Holloway. Lost. Good fight. I was fucking on the edge of my seat with that one. And then had the 2 fights with Jeremy Stevens. I think that Yair has a lot going on. I don't know if he's moving gyms. I don't know if it's, mental issues. I don't know if he's at a crossroads here, but he's certainly this next fight is going to tell a lot. And I think he's fighting a Bellator legend. What happened last time we saw there's a history of Bellator legends coming into the UFC and having mixed results, generally negative. Eddie Alvarez comes in and fights Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone does very well, right? Eddie Alvarez, the underground king. Donald Cerrone ends up fucking showing him what time it is, right? Michael Chandler comes in, Bellator legend, fights Dan Hooker. Level change hook against the cage and hooked with a hooker and came out on top, right? First round, I think 2.5 minutes in. I don't know what's going to happen. I think that Patricio is underrated in the MMA fan base. I think even the MMA hardcore is, they have respect for him, but maybe they think he's corny. Maybe they just think he's a little bit overhyped, but I think Patricio is going to have a good fight here, and he knows what game, he knows what arena he's stepping into, and I think it's going to be game time. I think Yair, if he is not the best version of himself, I don't think he's going to win. I think Patricio is going to find a lot of holes in Yair's game that Yair might not have an answer for. We'll see. We'll see what Yair has for this fight. And I love El Pantera. I hope that he comes out on top. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's really inspiring. He has some great fucking knockouts. I mean, that reverse elbow on Korean Zombie. The jumping head kick on fucking Andre Fili, right? I think it's great, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going to happen here. I am certainly excited to find out, though. I think it's going to be a fun one, right? A couple other fight announcements here that we have. We'll just go through these real quick. Jeff Neal, Carlos Prates. I got Prates. Come on, dude. And Bryce Mitchell, Gene Silva. This is going to be a wild one. I think Bryce Mitchell is going to get the shit beat out of him. But we will see. Bryce Mitchell has surprised us before. Josh Emmett shut his fucking soul off. And then he came back and destroyed Kron Gracie. Not the most impressive win because Kron Gracie has better jiu-jitsu than me and MMA, I grant you. And I'm going to get that out of the way. Kron Gracie has 2000 and late jiu-jitsu, as Gary Tonin would put it. 2000 and late jiu-jitsu. What do I mean by that? I mean that in the jiu-jitsu meta, he has not adapted his game other than that more traditional fundamental Gracie style. And in MMA, even further behind in the grappling and jiu-jitsu meta in that he doesn't adapt takedowns. He pulled fucking guard on Bryce Mitchell, for Christ's sake. And, he's not attacking the legs. He's not as active as he should be off his back. I mean, it was a sad one watching him get slammed and elbowed through the fucking canvas by Bryce Mitchell, of all people. Bryce Hitler was a cool guy, Mitchell. But I digress. Bryce could come and pull something off here, right? Let's take a look at Gene Silva's record here, if I may. Let's take a look here. Wow, Gene Silva's not even in the top 15. We'll take a look at Bryce Mitchell first. Bryce Mitchell, that loss to Emmett will live in my mind forever. Lost to TOPURIA. Supposedly he was sick, but I think TOPURIA would have won that against the best version of Bryce Mitchell. Beat Barboza, good fight. Beat Feely, closer fight than I thought it was going to be, but good fight nonetheless. Rosa, beat Ige, impressive. Lost to Emmett, a lot of people have. And beat Kron Gracie, well, that is just peachy. But now he's going to fight Gene Silva. Let's take a look. Take a look here if we can. Yo, his nickname is Lord. That's actually kind of funny. Oh, is it not? Why can I not get to his, That's interesting. Why can I not get to Gene Silva's profile? Is it this one? Interesting. Why can't I get to that? Oh, there once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Bellioti. Here we go. Gene Silva. Sorry, it was a little sea shanty for you boys. Let's see who's coming up. Bagdasarian. Drew Dober. Interesting. Charles Jourdain. Weston Wilson. Kevin Vallejos. So, not the most names on his scalp list here, right? Not the biggest names. But the win against Charles Jourdain and Drew Dober, excellent wins. I think Gene Silva is going to fuck Bryce Mitchell up. And I say that, Bryce Mitchell's an idiot outside the cage. Fine. He has wonderful mixed martial arts and great jiu-jitsu. I am very interested in seeing how this fight goes down. I think it's a bad fight for Gene Silva. And with that, I believe that's all I have for the MMA news. Oh, yes. I forgot. How could I have forgotten? Boys? We also have a wonderful fight. A fight that's a long time coming, in my opinion. And I gotta tell you, I am very excited to see it. Trying to find like a fight poster for it here. One moment here. Here we go. We have the Bullet, Valentina Shevchenko, fighting Mignon Fiorot for the women's flyweight title on May 10th in Montreal. That is a great fight. That's a great fight. There's a lot of people who hate on women fighting. There's a lot of like faux chivalrous dudes who are like, I don't know, man, I just can't get behind women fighting, seeing them do that. That's what men do. Or that women shouldn't be getting hit, bro. The fucking cool, bro. You think fucking King Leonidas of Sparta had a bitch who couldn't fight? Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, Peter Pan, Count Chocula. Come on, what are you fucking talking about? Women fights are largely very fun. Sometimes they're dog shit because that is by proxy of the fact that the talent pool is smaller because it's call it what it is. There's not a lot of women who want to get into fucking cage fighting, but also they weren't offered a position in the UFC for quite some time, and so the meta is still catching up. I mean, Christ, how many times do you see women throwing the bulldog choke on someone, the old schoolyard choke, and it working too, let alone like the inclination to go for it. But then you have fights that are, do y'all remember Joanna Jędrzejczyk going to war with Zhang Weili? Do you remember that? Do you remember Jessica Andrade slamming Rose Namajunas on the fucking canvas on her head, and you're just like, holy shit, is she dead? Is she dead? Bro, there are some amazing women fights out there. I mean, Valentina Shevchenko herself, remember when she head kicked Jessica Ai into the fucking crucifix and her whole body stiffened up and her feet are levitated off the ground as she's on her back? I mean, those are awesome fucking fights. Yeah, I mean, what do you got to say about this? Valentina Shevchenko coming back against Alexa Grasso and got her belt back after getting choked the fuck out by Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso's squeeze was so fucking tight. She had it over Shevchenko's jaw, and when she let go, right, I think she had like the arteries, a little bit of the neck, but then like also squeezing Shevchenko's chin into her neck, but then probably also putting the pressure on to like break her fucking jaw. Bro, Grasso's squeeze was so tight that there was discoloration on Shevchenko's face. It was like pink up here because of all the blood, and then like white here because of like how tight the fucking squeeze was. Let me see if I can pull that up. Dude, it was insane, and I gotta throw like the picture up because we can't do. Oh, perfect. Yeah, we can't do the We can't do any footage because the UFC intern will fucking come and find my channel and ban me, and that's not what anyone wants. Bro, check this out. Shevchenko, absolute warrior. Look at the discoloration of Shevchenko's face here. See that? See that? That was fucking Grasso's bicep and forearm. That's how fucking tight that squeeze was. Bro, Alexa Grasso could probably fucking murder someone like me, like with her band. I've trained for a while. Like, she could probably fucking murder me. That's fucking crazy. And Shevchenko just fucking coming back, putting on a good fight, and then winning her belt back. I mean, that's gonna be a fun one. That's gonna be a fun one. Ain't no two ways about it. And Mignon Ferrot, I mean, first off, excuse my vulgarity here. I absolutely do not mean to offend anyone. That bitch can fucking scrap. Mignon Ferrot, she is a fucking... I mean, I think she should have had this title shot for a while now. Mignon Ferrot, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the beast, Mignon Ferrot, right? 12-1, 125 pounds. Let's take a look at her entire fight history in the UFC. Leonardo, pass. Ricci, Tabitha Ricci. Okay, that was a name. She beat Mayra Bueno Silva. Had a moment there where she was pretty good. Meh. Mignon Ferrot beat her. Jennifer Maia, rather, beat her. Sermonara. Oh, yeah. That was Chukagian, right? She used to be Chukagian? Yeah, that used to be Ketlin Chukagian. Beat her, right? And a lot of decisions, I grant you, right? These two were knockouts, but she was fighting scrubs. No offense, ladies. Decision. Fought Namajunas. Here's where it starts getting good. Decisioned her. That was a interesting decision that she had against Namajunas. At the risk of turning my mic off, I'm not going to touch that spit that just came out here. And then the most impressive win on her record right now, Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield, another one. Pardon my vulgarity and my gruffness. That bitch can fucking fight. Erin Blanchfield's breaking people's arms out there. Erin Blanchfield's rearranging bitches' faces, right? She went in there 5 rounds and schooled Erin Blanchfield, and everyone thought Blanchfield was... People in the know respected Fiorot's fucking chances in that one, but Blanchfield had all the hype. She had her own fucking great record here. I mean, let's just take a look real quick, right? Blanchfield was coming up. When did she fight Fiorot? She fought Fiorot in 2024, March 30th, right? What were her fights before that? Aldrich, McCann, Andrade, future Hall of Famer, if I had my fucking ways. Santos then fought, and I mean, bro, that was a good one. Then she came back and rebounded and beat Rose Namajunas in a 5-round fight. I mean, so Blanchfield's legit as they come in that division. And Mignon Farreau had none of it. Mignon Farreau out here just absolutely destroying bitches. And that's going to be a good fight, this one against Shevchenko here. I don't know who I have in it. I actually think I have Fiorot. You know, the heir apparent to the throne. Fiorot has not fought Grasso, and a lot of people, so we're doing a little bit of MMA math here, a little bit of like Pokemon math. Charmander beats Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur beats Squirtle, Squirtle beats Charmander for you kids out there. But Shevchenko a little bit long in the tooth, right? 24-4-1. Shevchenko coming off of the draw against Grasso. Okay. The loss against Grasso. Okay. And then the win against, I mean, and here's the other thing. People forget. Tyler Santos did really fucking good against Valentina Shevchenko. Tyler Santos did real fucking good against her. And so did Jennifer Maia. Those were good fights, right? Maia not as good as Santos. Santos, really good in that fight. Really good. A lot of people called it a robbery. I don't know if I called it that. I'd have to watch it again with scrutiny, but Santos did great. I mean, took her back. It was a fucking great fight. And, Grasso went out there, exploited her fucking holes and, got the belt. And after 3 fights with Grasso, I mean, what can you do, right? You gotta take on a new contender. Fiorot is certainly that. I think Fiorot might have it. I thought Blanchfield was going to be the one to have it, right? Because I was high on Erin Blanchfield for a while as well. I was like, this bitch has it, and I don't know. With Fiorot soundly beating her, I think Fiorot might actually be the one. We're gonna see. Shevchenko is way too talented, way too experienced, way too explosive and strong to go down without a fight. But we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. And Fiorot, aside from those 2 finishes that I noted, a lot of decisions lately. I don't know. Can you decision Valentina Shevchenko? I would argue it's really, really, really tough to, nigh impossible. So we will see how that one is. We got a couple minutes here, so I want to go over just a couple more things that we have coming up here. We have Nick Rodriguez versus Victor Hugo in what is this, FPI 10 or something. This grappling thing that the UFC is doing on Fight Pass. Nick Rodriguez versus Victor Hugo. That's gonna be a great one. My heart wants Nick Rodriguez, but my brain says Victor Hugo. That's going to be an interesting one. I'm really excited to watch that grappling match. And then at 170 pounds, Oliver Taza versus Renato Canuto. That's going to be a great fight. I think I got Canuto in that one. But that's going to be that is going to be a scrambly, attacking, a violent chess match. One of the ones where it's like you're taking pieces left and right, both guys are, and then it just comes down to like whoever can. Dude, it's gonna be a good fucking match for you boys that play chess out there. I think that's gonna be a really good one. I just wanted to touch on this. That I think that it's great that the UFC is putting more grappling on UFC Fight Pass. Right, we had Mikey Musumeci on there. babbling about God knows what with Gordon Ryan and steroids and how they make the sport more uninteresting. I think it's the rules that make people uninteresting. The rules encourage boring jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu by nature is oftentimes you don't know what you're getting. Is it going to be a choke fest? Is it going to break someone's arm, slams? Or is it going to be a weird match where there's just a lot of stalling and stalemating and guys are not willing to take the risk? I mean, this was the whole thing that Eddie Bravo was talking about. It was why he started EBI. It's why we got Polaris. It's why we got Metamoris, rest in peace. It's why we got Quintet. Right? Fight to win. Craig Jones Invitational. It's what, I mean, there has been a surge of renaissance in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the professional grappling event promotion, and I for one am here for it. I don't think steroids in Jiu-Jitsu are necessarily the worst thing in the world. I certainly don't. I went off on this already. I'm not going to rehash it, but like, I don't get the pearl clutching about steroids in jiu-jitsu, very similar to how I don't get the pearl clutching about steroids in fucking baseball. I just don't care. And hey, here's a secret for you. I don't really care about it in MMA either. Oops. But you know, I digress. We're going to have some fun fucking fight. We're going to have some fun fucking fights here. So let's take a look at this dog shit card that we have coming up. I'm going to put some money down on it just to make it a little bit more interesting. I don't know who's going to fucking win. I probably Manel Kape, but like, it just seems like one where you could have an interesting little upset, right? You could have one. Let's look at the prelims first. Austin Lane, Florida boy from Jacksonville. Hey, remember that fucking douchebag that quit and fucking left me at holding the bag in DC alone? Yeah, he's from Jacksonville. That shithole. And apparently he's friends with Austin Lane. So, you know, have fun watching 37-year-old Austin Lane try. I mean, he might beat Mario Pinto too. Like, it's heavyweight, so it's like 37 is not as old in heavyweight as it is in like bantamweight. But you know, Mario Pinto 9-0, never known defeat. But I tend to think that these young guys that are undefeated, as they go up the rankings, I tend to think that tends to hurt them more. Like, when you get to the heavyweight top, you're going to want a loss or two, because that is, I mean, you're not going to want a loss, but like the learning, the leveling up that happens after a loss definitely, you know, or just like having to go through the trenches. I think that does a lot more for you than like a quick knockout at heavyweight, which is prone to happen because those boys are throwing fucking bricks in their hands. Ricardo Ramos versus Mariscal. Nope. Danny Silva versus Lucas Almeida. That's a pretty fun one. We like Danny Silva on this program. I think I got Danny Silva, but Lucas Almeida is really good too. We do like Danny Silva though. Fun fighter. So now let's take a look. Sam Patterson, Danny Barlow. At welterweight. I don't know about this one. See what Tapology's got. I mean, Barlow coming off of 5 wins. Patterson 4-1, pretty damn good. Left hand to God with the number 2, or the future, a name so bad, also taken by Ian Gary. I mean, what are we doing? What is going on? Thought MMA was cool? Think again. The guys here are just fucking not. I mean, nicknames are dumb regardless. So like, what do I know? But those are all terrible, except for Michael Visa's nickname. Michael Visa's nickname is Pizza, and that is a great nickname. And then of course there is the best nickname in MMA. The best nickname in MMA, right? What is it? Is it the Notorious Conor McGregor? No. Is it Mighty Mouse? No. Is it Patty the Batty Pimblett? No. This is the best nickname in MMA. The Cuban Missile Crisis. Kids, nicknames are fucking dumb, okay? They just are. But if you're gonna have one, I mean, name it after one of the most tense times in human history. That's so fucking good. I love that. And Julian Marquez, man, that dude throws fucking missiles. That dude's a good fighter. So I'm excited for that fight. Not Marquez, obviously. I'm excited for this fight. Because despite what their nicknames say, they are very good fighters. This is going to be a fun one. Danny Barlow, I don't know, man. I mean, let's take a look at his law school MMA. That's kind of cool. That's a kind of cool nickname name for a gym. Let's look at who Danny Barlow's coming off of. Danny Barlow, undefeated, coming off of Josh Quinlan's the only one that I know there. Chris Mims, I remember. Yeah. Where did I see Chris? Why have I heard that name before? Why have I heard the name Chris Mims before? Okay, apparently it's not that. Apparently that name is just very familiar to me, and I have no idea who this guy is. Oops. Derail the show there for a fucking autism aneurysm right there. Turns out weaponized autism also has its drawbacks, folks. Josh Quinlan, good fight. Good win, rather. Nikolay, I am not familiar with this one. I'd have to go back and watch it. Split decision. Wonder if that was bad judging, or if it was just a bad night, or if the guy almost got his clock cleaned. We'll have to see. Sam the Future Patterson, though, fighting out of Walford, England, for a sandwich. Coming off of wins over, Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. I watched a highlight of both of these guys before the show so I could at least be a little bit in the know. And it's like, damn, they look like fun fighters. Who are they fighting against? Exactly. They could be fighting against fucking no ones. I mean, who the hell knows? But I think it's going to be a good fight based on the highlights I've seen, which is to say basically based on absolutely nothing. Follow me for more excellent MMA fucking ramblings. Hyder Amil versus William Gomez. I'm not even going to attempt this one. Let's say Gomez because he's taller, has longer reach, and he's younger. I mean, I don't fucking know. What the hell is happening? Here we go. Finally, some people and this card is just absolutely dog shit here. I mean, I'm sorry, boys. All due respect to anyone stepping in the cage. This might be the actual best fight on the fucking card. Esteban Ribovics versus Nasrat Hakparast. Ribovics, if you don't know, is coming off the Fight of the Year contender. I don't know if this one actually won it. I believe Durain had this for his Fight of the Year contender, or winner, rather, in the 2024 Fightcraft Podcast MMA Awards. But this dude put on a fucking show. It was at that Noche card in the Sphere. You know, it was one of the things that I don't remember much about. I think that was when Shevchenko beat Grasso too. Zell Huber and Ribovics. I mean, what a great fight that was. But let's talk about the fight that we have at hand here. Come on. Nasrat Hakparast, or as we call him, Kelvin Gastelum Jr. Hello. Coming in hot. Okay, coming in hot. 4-1 in his last 5. Beat Jared Gordon, beat Jamie Malarkey, Landon Quinones, I'm not familiar with. John McDessie, okay. Bobby Green, loss. Dan Hooker, loss. Drew Dober, loss. Marcin Held. Remember Marcin Held? That dude fucking ruled. I think he was the World Series of Fighting champion. Marcin Held fucking ruled, dude. Damn. I think Polish fighter. He fucking deserves another shot. Man, whatever happened to Marcin Held? We gotta take a real quick fucking detour down the Marcin Held highway. Bro, this dude fucking ruled. Last fought in June. Damn. Fought Ali Alban Mercier in PFL in 2021. That was fought Diego Brand. Damn. Fucking bring Marcin Held back. God damn it, dude. I mean, he beat Nasrat Hakparast and they fucking cut him? This is bullshit. This absinthe is bullshit. When does the ferry get laid? I digress. This will be a good fight. I might have fucking Esteban here. I might just be hot on Esteban right now. He brings out the what the fuck in me. I mean, what the fuck? That dude throws bombs. I think he's. I think I'm gonna put. There's a bet. I think I'm gonna put money on Esteban. Let's see what Hard Rock has him at too. Let's see real quick what Hard Rock app has Esteban Ribovics as. And forgive me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Oh, as Esteban, minus 300 favorite. Haqparast plus 210. Okay. I mean, a safe bet. I'll probably put it on. I mean, dude, come on, man. That's a good fight. And Haqparast is pretty good too. You know, not my favorite fighter to watch, but he's been in a lot of really good fights. Dude's been around for a while. That's going to be a good one. Oh my God, am I eating my words? Julian Marquez is on the card. That's fucking awesome. Me finding out in real time that this motherfucker is actually on the card. Bro, I don't know why. I thought Haqparast was the co-main event. Obviously, I pulled this up on the show. My eyes glazed right over this. Manel Kape Fight Night main event. Like fucking head spinning like fucking Johnny Cage in fucking Mortal Kombat. Bro, you know I gotta go with Julian Marquez. You know I gotta go with the fucking Cuban Missile Crisis. 34, 6'2", everything else virtually identical. Bro, Cody Brundage, though, let's take a look at what he's coming off of here, because I know Cody Brundage has a bad rap lately, but he's fucking... Okay, he lost to Bo Nickel, whatever. No contest against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, okay, weird. Couple of losses, right? Rodolfo Vieira, okay, whatever. Slam and punches against Zach Reese. Do y'all remember that one? I love a good slam knockout, and I fucking hate getting slammed, but I love a good fucking slam knockout. I don't remember this fight. I don't remember this result either. Illegal elbow to the back of the head. Interesting. Julian Marquez, though. I mean, the fucking Cuban Missile Crisis. What? He's from Chile. No, I'm kidding. Kansas City, Missouri. You imagine if he was Chilean and he was called the Cuban Missile? That would be even better about that nickname, is if you're not from Cuba, you're not Cuban at all, or from Cuba, and you just have that as your name. That's like fighting out of the blue corner in the bantamweight division, Klein the Nuremberg Trials Wong. I mean, that's how fucking funny that would be. I assume Julian Marquez is Cuban, but that is, you know, the dude's coming off of a couple of losses here. Beat Smiling Sam Alvey. That was his last win in 2021. Probably looking... I mean, they're probably fighting for their walking papers here. They're probably fighting to stay in the UFC. I'm going to bet money on the Cuban Missile Crisis because I love his nickname, and that's absolutely why you should never follow my betting advice. I also don't give betting advice because I have a fiduciary responsibility to the Fightcraft podcast audience. But also, MMA is just too weird to bet on. I don't even know why I started betting. I've bet on like 3 or 4 fights, and all in the past like 6 months. I think I just said, fuck it, let me give it a try. I think like dollar amount, I'm up overall. I think like number of fights I've gotten right or wrong, like down. And Miranda Maverick almost fucking killed me on that one in Tampa. But this will be a very good fight. I'm going to go Cuban Missile Crisis. I think if it goes to decision, it's not going to have fun results. And here we get to the main event. Manel Kape, Almabayev. Is it weird that I want to go with Almabayev here? Manel Kape, obviously, more fights, a little bit more experienced, taller, more reach, and a great fighter. I saw him at UFC Tampa. I did not stay for his fight because I'm not a Manel Kape fan. I actually got up to go find some friends and grab some gin, and you know, he had a great knockout there right in front of Benny Johnson and Dana White as they were sitting cage side, and has said some slurs, but you know, we talk about the in the cage performance and separating art from the artist. He's a great fighter. Tussled with Kai Asakura for sure. I think lost one and won one. Has had some weird losses, but Almabayev, sturdy, kind of a decision guy, has had a couple of finishes, but I think mostly a decision guy. Kazakh, just like Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think tough. I think durable. Weirdly, I think I want to go with Almabayev here. He is the underdog. And this card was kind of put in place. You get the feel this was put in place to give Manel Kape the next clear contender shot at Pantoja. I think Manel Kape is kind of a guy who fumbles the bag a little bit when given the shot, right? Manel Kape currently sitting at number 6 in flyweight. Pantoja has beaten everybody in flyweight fucking multiple times, so they're looking for the next contender. Manel Kape, let's see. Lost to Markwayne. Okay. Great knockout against Silva. Beat Dos Santos, beat Dvorak, beat these guys who's like, who the fuck are they? Beat Osborne, lost to Nicolau. I think I saw him fight at Tampa too. Did I see him fight in Tampa? No, I did not. He lost to, yeah. And the MMA math doesn't work, so you can't take the fact that Asu Almabayev beat Nicolau and Manel Kape lost him. You can't really take that. And then, obviously Pantoja had his way with him. This just strikes me as the type of fight where Almabayev is getting overlooked, and I think he's tougher than Kape realizes. Kape is cocky, very explosive, very good fighter, but I think Almabayev might have something for him that he's not ready for, right? I think there might be a little something going on here in that Kazakhstan water that we have, right, with Shavkat Rakhmonov and Asu Almabayev. I mean, this dude, yes, he's had a lot of decisions. Not a boring fighter. Yes, he's had a lot of decisions. Not a boring fighter. Fought a lot of people I don't know. Submitted Osborne, okay. Vergara decision, Johnson decision, Nicolau decision. The dude is sturdy. Defensively sound, great grappler, which if you had to make an argument against Kape, he's been caught a few times, but I think Kape, I don't think he's the strongest grappler. I could just see, I think I'm going to put money on Almabayev. Probably not much, probably like $20, but I think it's a good one. So that's all we got for today. I will be probably live tweeting the fights, but I don't really have much else that I really want to get into on them. Trying to get this Dominic Cruz video done for Sunday release, and then maybe we'll record, or maybe me and Durain will record on Sunday after the fights and kind of give a little post-fight analysis, break down what we saw, and then I'll release the Dominic Cruz video sometime next week. I will be in DC next week. We're doing a big show for the Benny Show. And I'll be directing a bunch of huge guests in actual, the Congress building. We'll have a conference room. We'll be setting everything up. It's going to be a huge one. Then we'll be right back here. It's going to be a whirlwind, a couple of days, but I'm excited. I live for this shit, and I'm pretty goddamn confident that I'm going to be able to do it. I have the thumbnail ready for the Dominic Cruz. What do you want to call it? The Dominic Cruz video. There it is. Dominic Cruz's fight craft. The man is retired. We tip our hats off to him. I can't wait to release this video. A little bit of a time capsule. It's tough to do without being able to show UFC footage, but a little bit of a time capsule here as we go through Dominic Cruz's career, his fight style, old interviews, old breakdowns. This is a great breakdown. I actually got hip to Luke Thomas, who I'm a big fan of, in the breakdown for Cruz versus Dillashaw. I was a fan of Robin Black, and Luke Thomas and Robin Black did a Monday Morning Analyst previewing that fight. And Durain knows, Cruz and Dillashaw is one of my favorite fights. We used to share a fight pass, and that fight would always be on replay there, and he would always see it. I love Dominic Cruz. I love Dillashaw too, but I really love that dude's fighting. And, I gave a long, sappy farewell to him, 4 weeks ago when he retired. But I'm really excited for this video. I put a lot of work into this. I'd like to do more videos like this where it's looking at a former fighter's, maybe a legend in the sports, resume, their fight style, what people thought about them at different points of their career, how they started and ended their career, high points, low points, what are their notable styles, right? And I'm really excited for that one. If you care to follow along, please hit subscribe, please hit like, please leave a comment on this video, share it with your friends. It all helps the algorithm, right? It all helps the algorithm. and it really helps me, and I greatly appreciate it. If you don't, no worries. I'm going to keep fucking screaming into the void anyways, because that's what this whole podcast was started for. And today's podcast, I can't forget, brought to you by Alp, a lip pillow by Tucker Carlson, the only nicotine pouch of the Fightcraft podcast. And today's podcast also brought to you by those little Reese's eggs that they release every year around Easter time. I think that's all I got. Follow me on X, on Instagram if that's your jam, @KleinWong_. And I'm going to go home and see my girlfriend now. Have a good night.